tailgate talking on a Sunday afternoon. So let's call up the boys, bring a case or two, cause we ain't got nothing to lose. I know we were tailgate talking on a Sunday afternoon.
Before we start today's episode, we want to give a big shout out to our first sponsor, TBE Sports. If you're looking for any sports apparel, hit them up at tbesports.net.
Once you get there, check out their website, anything you guys may need. Promo code WeHoo24 at checkout to get an additional discount. Again, thank you to TBE Sports for being our first official sponsor. Let's get into today's podcast.
The best ever, baby.
Yes, sir.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Tailgate Talk. My name is Brandon. Got my boy Chris to the right. And just like usual, right? We always say we have a special guest coming on.
Very special guest, bro.
Very special. I feel like it's very special for me because thankfully you've known the people that you've known and you've brought on the people that you have. And every guest, just so everybody knows, has been to his credibility on him. But today it's my first one, you know? So this one feels a little more special for me, you know? Dude. But we always talk on the podcast about like being disciplined and how doing certain things can get you certain places. But I feel like today's guest defines the word disciplined. We can go left or right, and I love that we're going to be able to talk about it. But I feel like very few people push themselves to be their best self. Yeah, you know, and very few people know what it feels like to push themselves to the limit. I want to say, right? Obviously, I have no experience behind it. He'll let us know. But today's guest has done exactly that. He has his own business behind this. He's a IFBB Classic Physique Pro, and I'm thrilled to go with this one because it's been baseball heavy on this podcast, but today we're switching that up.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad we're getting on a different spectrum of sport, bro. So this is gonna be a good one.
So today we want to go on what goes beyond just being on the stage, what goes on behind social media, because obviously we see all his accolades, we see the trophies, we see the medals, we see what he wants to post. But today we want to dig deep a little into his head and see what it is to be a bodybuilder, you know? So today we're sitting down with Richard Varela.
Welcome to the program, brother.
Yes, sir. IFBB Classic Physique Pro. Welcome, yes, brother.
Sir. Thank you, man. I appreciate you guys having me here. It's an honor.
No, the honor's all ours, bro. And how Brandon said, we're gonna kind of get into everything that we're, about your career and your business and stuff. But Brandon mentioned to me, and we kind of talked about it briefly before. You're a new father.
Yeah.
So talk about you coming and giving us your time. Like 3 weeks old, like you told me. So we appreciate you coming on, bro. I know I was in that stage like 7 or 8 months ago, so I know how tiresome it could be and all that stuff. So thank you for coming, brother.
No, yeah, of course, guys. Thank you.
First off, bro, how does it feel, bro? How does it feel to be a father? Do you feel more pressured now? And obviously, these are all questions that we know because we're fathers ourselves, right?
Yeah.
But do you feel like it's put more pressure on you, or do you feel like the pressure's a little more off?
It's been, so my experience, I was already a stepfather. I have a 9-year-old stepson. I met him when he was 5. But I think the pressure now, it's like I have more people depending on me, and it's just a different dynamic now in the house. Doing the co-parenting thing, like he goes with his dad. We have a very good system that we kind of have in our household. And we have a pretty good relationship with all 3 of us. So it works well. I grew up with a stepdad for a little bit. I understand the importance of that dynamic and what it does for my stepson, because I feel like I needed that and I didn't have that. So I put myself in his shoes a lot. But with my own son now, there was just certain worries that I have, that I definitely want to make sure that I step up for. The present father is definitely the main thing, Like, I think one thing that I have prioritized myself on is not just trying to be the provider, but being present there with him, because I think my time being spent with him and the relationship that I build with him is the most important part. But like, you also got to pay the bills. You also got to be, a good husband. So I think balancing that all out is the one thing that has kind of overwhelmed me a little bit right now in this like first 3 weeks. I'm trying to like have it all figured out at once. But I think talking to other guys that are fathers or just, overall good men and what they're trying to do for their families is kind of giving me some peace of mind. Like, I don't have to have it all figured out. And I don't think everybody ever does.
Nobody will.
But I think those little self-talks have helped me kind of like, okay, man, like this day can be for work, and then, clock out at this time, turn your brain off, spend time with your family, spend time with your wife, or, like know when to be present. That's definitely what's helped me.
And I love how you brought up the term a good man. Right? I feel like in today's society, that's lost a lot. And I speak from experience because I myself, I co-parent with my son's mom. And is it easy? No. But once you get it down, it's okay. And you see and you hear a lot of relationships go south because, and I don't mean to knock anybody off, right? But there's just a lot of pride.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pride in, for example, as a man, right? Like, oh, I don't want my son being around another man, or I don't want my son learning from another man. Like, no, that's not the case. The case might be, hey, like my son, I'm thankful that my son has another man in his life to teach him how to be a better man.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way I see it myself. Again, being that, and I don't think it's a surprise to anybody, right? Everybody that knows me knows that I'm not with my son's mom. But I love that you brought up the term good man, because I feel like there is a lot. We just go unseen.
Yes, for sure, bro.
Unseen. And I love how I brought up the fact that, yeah, you have a 3-week-old son, but you also have a 9-year-old stepson.
Yeah.
And I love how you brought him up without us even asking.
Yeah.
And that goes, and I know Chris knows where I'm going with this. This is one of my best friends. He stepped up to the plate. He has 2 kids that are his step kids. But if you would have told me, and I've told you this a million times, bro, if I would have just met him, I would have never known that those were his step kids.
They look exactly like me, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah, and that's the even crazier part, bro. I was, hey, are you sure you're a stepdad? But I love that you brought that up, dude. And I'm curious to get into all these talks. But Chris, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, yeah, just real quick, like, quick question. How old are you, bro?
I'm 27.
You're 27. You're a little bit younger than me, but the first thing I thought of when you gave that first response was, damn, like how old? Because you look like you're in your early 20s, bro.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure is a credit to the way you take care of your body, man. But like the way you bring up time, not only providing for your kids, but having the time and being there, just being present.
Yeah.
I'm currently going through like a dilemma like that myself. I'm 30 years old and thinking about a career change because of the amount of time my work takes away from being present.
Yeah.
How you mentioned for your kids, bro. So I think like you're saying, like he's 3 weeks old and you're trying to figure it out. I think honestly, like as a compliment to you, man, just the fact that you're thinking that way and already like this early on in the kid's life, just thinking about how you're gonna maneuver things and the way you're gonna turn your brain off right after work, bro. It's a testament to the kind of person and the kind of father you're gonna be, bro. So just a quick shout out to you for that, bro, because that's everything, man.
I appreciate that, man.
Time's one thing that we can't ever get back.
Yeah.
It's one commodity we can never get back. So the fact that your mind's there, bro, shout out to you, bro. That's awesome, bro.
Thank you, bro.
So getting back to the questions that we have for you, obviously I've known you, or I've known of you for a while. We've crossed paths a little bit here and there, but what made you get into bodybuilding, brother?
So I started bodybuilding at the age of 16. I grew up playing football my entire youth. I started at the age of 5. I had an athletic background, and like any young kid's dreams, it was like I wanted to go D1. I wanted to go, to the NFL. That was like my, long-term goal when I was young. And then when I got into high school, I went to Americas. I made varsity, and then it was like a, change, because now I'm not the best player on the team. I'm on a bigger platform, bigger field, and I'm not the best. So then that kind of humbled me a little bit. I wasn't starting. I was used to always being that highlight player and being second string, like trying to take it serious when you're there on the sideline and everybody else is kind of jacking around. Like, it did something to me. And I was like, I just had a moment of realization where I had to tell myself, I'm 5'6", I am 155 pounds at the time. What are the chances of me going D1? And I'm like, I'm putting so much effort, and where is this going to take me? I didn't want to waste my time. So I ended up quitting my junior year. And I remember I got a lot of a lot of like smack talk because
Like
of being
backlash
a
and stuff.
quitter, you know, and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And I was like, you know what, like I'm just gonna make something of myself with the gym because like I still feel like I want to do something. I'm still competitive. I picked up working out. I just try to do what I knew at the time and try to learn from different people. I started working at a gym, which is a gym that I still train at today, which is Show Offs Fitness.
Shout out Show
And
Offs.
yeah, but they gave me a job. I started working the front desk in the kitchen, prepping food and stuff like that. They have a meal prep company. And then just being around the atmosphere of people that were competing, seeing all of these like guys that were like getting on stage. I feel like any young teen seeing like, you know, all of these muscular dudes. And it's funny that at the time, I wasn't into bodybuilding. I would see bodybuilders and I'm like, I don't want to look like that, bro. Like, that's too much. That's huge, you know? And I had a buddy, and I still thank him to this day because he's actually the one that got me into bodybuilding just by like showing me all of these videos of Ronnie Coleman and Arnold. And like, those are all new to me. And then I was like, you know what? Like, I really want to challenge myself and I want to do this. You know, I wanted to like, I don't know, in a way, prove something to people that were just always saying that about me quitting. So I signed up for my first bodybuilding show. I hired a coach. And from there, it just kind of kicked off. You know, I definitely became obsessed with the competition side of things.
And would you say the competition was kind of like what made you want to take bodybuilding serious, or was it something else?
I think it was proving something to myself. Maybe there was other underlying factors that I didn't learn about myself until later in life, more recently, honestly. But I mean, that 17-year-old kid was definitely just trying to do it to like prove something to maybe like the haters that I had at the moment, or maybe the people that just like didn't think I was going to do something with it. Cause yeah, in the beginning, you know, think about it, getting on a Speedo at the age of 17 on stage, you're going to get laughed at. You're going to get, people have the remarks, but like, I was just determined and I wanted to really test myself. And then once I started to like see what I was capable of, I was like, okay, like where else can I take it? Cause like I said, I didn't really want to get that big in the beginning. I think a lot of people say that when they get into the gym, like, I don't want to really look like that.
Yeah.
But then once you're in it and then you prove something, you're like, wow, like I can really take this somewhere more. And then you just kind of, honestly, it's a snowball effect from there.
It just builds from that. Yeah, because I can kind of relate to that, bro. Like, obviously, I'm not in any kind of fucking shape you are, but, you know, like, you see pictures of bodybuilders like Ronnie Coleman, Arnold, like, got two guys you mentioned, and you're like, fuck, bro. Like, even my wife's like, if you ever go back to the gym, you look that big, hell no.
Yeah.
But, like how you're saying, like, you're very competitive and stuff like that, and I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like Brennan mentioned to you, I'm training for a half Ironman, and I'm out of shape, dude, and I still go out there and I train like I'm in shape.
Yeah,
and I
badass.
get hurt sometimes, and I'm kind of like, all right, bro, you need to take a step back. But it's that competitive juice, bro. You know, it's so I can see why you're like, you know what, let's keep this pushing.
I think something that I also liked was just being able to do something that not everybody can do.
Yes.
I know it was a big motivator. Even Ironman training, man. I barely started to get into endurance training, but like that's a whole other beast in itself. And that's cool. So I feel like leaning into that was also a big like motivator for me.
That's awesome, bro.
And it's cool because like again, going back to the whole we just have baseball people on, right? I feel like this is a whole different monster.
Yeah,
you know,
bro,
like not a lot of people can achieve this, and again, props to you, bro. We're gonna give you the props throughout the whole podcast, but because again, it goes to not just being in the gym. That's part I want to say to it, but there's also what you eat,
the nutrition,
the nutrition part, the sleep part, the resting part. You know that there's so much we're gonna get into, but now that we're in talking about training, what does a current training split look like for you?
So it's changed, man. A lot has changed in my life. So I've adjusted. You know, I don't look like the bodybuilder I was, 2 years ago. I'm a lot healthier now, and it sounds cliche, but like bodybuilding is not healthy. It's not. There's a lot of different things that go into it if you really want to take it to that level, which I turned pro, so I was there at that level.
Yeah.
But I've changed a lot. I've changed my overall structure of training. My time is different now. I don't have 2 hours to be in the gym, like I said, being a new father and just trying to be more present. I've been less selfish now with that time because I have other priorities. So I still care about my physique. I still care about my image and my overall, like, fitness is never going to leave my life, but that is something that I've had to change, is like how I go about my fitness, how I go about my structure of workouts. So I strength train 3 days a week, push, pull, legs, or 2 upper days, lower day. I wanted to start getting into endurance training. I started picking up running. I started picking up just like, more athletic movements. boxing is something that I do twice a week now. So as a bodybuilder, you don't really move like that. It's not the same. So that was a whole other thing. When I was going to get ready for my wedding, I didn't like the way that I looked in a suit. And I was like, okay, I want to change something. And that's where I got to the point where I'm at now. It's been about going on 2 years almost already. I just hired a new coach for myself that is like specified or specializes in, I would say, like the whole hybrid training now that you hear online.
High rocks and all that stuff.
There you go. Yeah. Not necessarily high rocks, but like the cross training.
Okay.
I still want to stay muscular, but be able to be more functional.
To move. Yeah.
To move. Yeah, exactly. And that's not something that I was capable of doing before.
And was it a big challenge when you made that switch? Because I know like you mentioned boxing and stuff like that, and like the whole saying about being too muscular, like the big guys, like their muscles fill with lactic acid really quick, and then they gas themselves out. So was that a big challenge for you?
Yeah, bro, it's real. And you know what's funny is that like I would hear that topic come on social media, right? Like, oh, that muscle, but he can't fight or he can't do that. Until I was in a ring, you know, just starting to get into combat sports, and I was like, holy shit, bro, I can't move. I can't do this. You know, like after a round, my shoulders are burning, and it's like, okay, like this is a whole other. I liked it because it made me put myself in my client's shoe all over again, you know,
like uncomfortable.
Yeah, because I mean, I coach people from sometimes like very beginning to, you know, sometimes even just more advanced, but to build somebody up is what I enjoy, is like teaching them how to start building that momentum. To the work doesn't get easier, but you get better at it. And getting into boxing, getting into running as a 195-pound dude, or at, you know, my height as well, like it was a whole other challenge, the conditioning part of things, you know. So the way that I was able to get better at it was surrounding myself with people that were already better than me doing it. And that's definitely what like held me accountable too, is just like, okay, I'm not gonna bitch out, or I'm not gonna let myself look weak around other people that are also doing this. Like I need to hold myself to the same standard. And I mean, I'm doing this to other people myself as well. Like, how am I going to be telling you to put yourself through the strain and show up consistently, but I can't do it all over again, you know? So it was a cool testament on myself again. And I did really enjoy it. I'm still enjoying it. But I think now it's just allowed me to be more consistent.
And you know what I love is that he's legit just being real. Like,
and
being a bodybuilder isn't completely 100% healthy, whatever the case may be. But I kind of noticed the whole endurance running with and I'm gonna shout him out, Ivan.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
Ivan Chingon. We're gonna clip this. We're gonna shout you out, bro.
Ivan Chingon.
Yeah.
What a name.
Yeah, dude. I've seen his story, and I would love to run with this dude, but just to share a quick story about him from what I've seen, right? Would party all the time. He posts videos of not him doing coke exactly, right, but just him living the young life.
Having a good time.
Yeah, to now just running and doing endurance running. And that's where I saw that him and Rich were, they're together, right? They're running and doing their thing. And I was just like, oh shit, like, okay. Like, one, we got A, bodybuilder, B, runner. What's going to happen here? And then he started posting his times. And then I talk about the times, right? Because Jacob, your brother, we talk about the Iron Man. I would run probably like a 850 mile, and his brother was like, "Oh, bro, you're fucking goated, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "No, dude, like I'm over here dying and shit, you know." But going back to you being a bodybuilder and how it's different,
it is,
and you being able to do both, bro. Again, just goes back to your character and how you are
and his mindset, bro.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It takes a special kind of mind. Not to cut you off, bro.
Course.
But it takes a special kind of mind, because obviously, like we're mentioning, like we're getting into it. I mean, Brandon's more on the endurance side that I've ever been, but you know, I'm getting into it, bro, and I realize, like, shit, dude, like it takes a lot of mental fortitude to keep pushing, especially when you're tired.
Especially running.
Running is a bitch,
bro. And I was actually stalking your fucking Instagram before this, bro, and I saw you posted you ran 18 miles, like it was the furthest run you've ever did.
Yeah,
at like a 7-something or 8-something pace.
Yeah, I
was like, Jesus Christ, bro. Like now we're like kind of ties back into, you know, you're a bodybuilder, you're big, and you're getting into the endurance, like the mental fortitude to go from that to getting gassed, like rather quickly, I'd say, to being able to run 18 miles, bro. Like.
Yeah, that was a cool feeling. And it's funny that Ivan actually helped me get that in.
For sure.
Yeah, he met me at
and just so you know, real quick, Chris has a record of just he looks you up and he'll find everything
Yeah.
about you. So
Yeah,
your
yeah,
social security
That's
number.
good. I mean,
You might want to change that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, I mean he like we talked about. He brought you up, bro, and he was like, "Hey, a bodybuilder," and he was like, "Cause I don't know if he was kind of like, hey, dude, it's not in our norm. Like, you know, we're talking about baseball and stuff like that." I was like, dude, like, I'm interested in talking to people, like just in general, bro. I don't give a fuck if you're a fisherman, a freaking hiker, you like to skydive. I love to talk to people, bro. And I say this every podcast. I like to take a little piece of what I learned from you and apply it to my own life. So to me, it's like, not only is it a learning experience, but it's a, you know, it's cool hearing other people's stories and seeing where we can relate and stuff like that. It's awesome, bro.
No, for sure. And again, like how Chris said, is he likes to take a piece from every episode, and so do I. You know, and I feel like it's kind of landed at the perfect time. Me and you are kind of trying to get into that whole fitness setting. Who better to take advice from than someone who's actually done that?
He's done it. He's proven it. Yeah.
You know
And
what I mean?
you've made the switch from bodybuilding to endurance, bro.
Yeah,
like,
man.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be hitting you up after this, bro, to get some freaking tips from you,
we'll
dude.
talk.
And you have your page, right? If you want to call it out right now.
My training is, my Instagram is Richard Varela 24, and I'm an online fitness coach. I run a fitness company, and that's Team Rich Works 4 on Instagram.
Yeah, and I've seen all the before and after
transformations.
Yeah, bro, it's awesome.
And it's cool to see, bro, because it takes a lot to as a person, right? Saying me to hit up somebody like, hey, I want to transform my life. I want to make changes. To have somebody actually like, hey, well, you need to do A, B, C, and D. But to actually like sit there and do A, B, C, and D to see the transformations, I'm sure to you, bro, it means everything. I'm sure you see these people change their lives, change their lifestyles, and you're probably like, hell yeah.
It is. It's cool. I mean, this whole transition for my own life has also helped my business because I have gotten better in the sense of knowing how to put myself in different perspectives. And that's not, I mean, every year as a coach, I'm trying to get better. But understanding a client and a father or somebody that just has high priorities, I'm not going to make a client do something that I wouldn't do myself or I haven't done myself. You know, I can't make you do a 10-mile run if I don't know what that feels like.
Yeah.
So I wanted to also go through that because I'm like, okay, now this is going to be another pool of people that I can try and work with and help, you know, but I need to understand what that feels like first. Now being a busy parent, being, you know, somebody that doesn't have that much time, how do I structure a training week for a dad that only has 4 hours in the week to train, you know? And I just did my own little, not podcast, but my own little testimonial with one of my clients that had a great transformation. He's from New York, and same, like he only had 2 to 3 days maybe in the week to work out, maybe an hour tops, but like he had a great transformation with that. His obstacle wasn't being perfect on paper, but just being intentional. And we wrote his program for that. Now that's something that I have to follow myself because like, when I was bodybuilding, it's very much to the T. Like you can't get away from the plan. You try to be a perfectionist in every way, like to the point where like I would cook my eggs the same exact way every morning. And if it wasn't like that, it would just bother me.
Yeah.
But like now with this other cross training, you're burning so many calories
that you need to eat.
Yeah, you need to eat. You have a little more flexibility. You know, if I'm going to go on a 10-mile run, I can have a Pop-Tart and I'm like, all right, I'm cool. You know, like I need those sugars. But for bodybuilding, it's not the same. And there's a lot more precision in the diet and everything else as well, you know?
So going into that, bro, you keep speaking about bodybuilding, and I don't know if you're getting the kind of vibe. I feel like you're speaking of bodybuilding like if you're not gonna do it anymore. Is that something that you're kind of leading to, or
is that still on the table?
Yeah. No, I think I'm there. I think I've paid my dues to bodybuilding. I think, and this is just my personal experience. I started at 16. I turned pro at 24, right before I turned 25. I did 14 shows. I put a lot into it, and it's a very selfish sport. I felt like I proved everything to myself. And it's crazy that when I turned pro, I had this high moment that I've never felt in my life. And it's the only thing that I can compare it to is like when you hear like a lot of people that talk about these great accomplishments. I went through like this very big moment in my life for maybe a week where I felt like I was on top of the world.
Yeah.
And then from 1 week to the next, I was like, what's next?
Now what?
You know, I put so much like time and effort, and I felt like once I turned pro, my life was gonna like flourish, and it didn't. Nothing really changed, you know, because at the end of the day, life moves on. People forget, and now it's just like I don't want to be the guy that keeps talking about what I have done. You know, I want to continue to work towards bigger achievements. But I think now having a family and now having, you know, just other priorities, I'm still competitive. I'm now trying to get other goals in place. I want to do an Ironman myself. I want to do more things that are going to challenge me. But there's nothing wrong with me just still being fit and holding that standard for myself, but not having to put my family on the back burner, you know, because now my focus is on my business, on my family. And the one thing that I've learned is like, you can be great at a couple things, but you can't be great at all of them. You know, when I was bodybuilding,
Ooh, we're gonna clip that, bro.
We're gonna put that shit on a t-shirt, bro. We're gonna put that shit on a t-shirt. We're gonna give you 10%, bro.
And it's true, man. I told my wife when I was like, because my wife came into my life when I wasn't pro yet. So when I first started bodybuilding, or not when I first started bodybuilding, when we got together in a relationship, I had to explain to her like what this really entails and the type of person that I not become, but how things are, you know? And that first year was an adjustment for her. But then the second year, she already kind of knew it. She's like, all right, I know how to handle you. I know how things go. And then she was on it, you know? That last time around, it was my priority to be a better partner in prep, because when prep is in place, you don't want to have anything that is going to mess things up. So like if someone's having a birthday party or something and they're at, I don't know, wherever place Peter Piper, I'm taking my meal. Or I know if there's not going to be food available for me for 4 hours, I'm going to go to the car and I'm going to eat something in the car. Or I'm probably just not going to go in general. Or maybe I'll just show face for a couple, maybe minutes, for an hour, and then I'll leave, you know? But like I try to be a better partner that last year, and my wedding year was coming up. So I told myself like, I need to nail it this year. If not, I'm not going to do this again. Like I'm not going to keep putting my wife through another year in prep, you know, asking her to sacrifice, because it's a sacrifice for herself, for her as well. But I was able to like really lock in, and I was able to be a better partner, a better stepdad in that year as well, which is also like something that I was proud of. But then after that, I'm like, okay, like for me to want to go back to the stage, it's going to take a lot. I'm weighing 165 right now. My stage weight was 170. My off-season weight is like 190. For the pro level now, I would have to be on stage at 180. But that means I got to bulk up to like 200.
200,
you know?
Yeah,
Man. It's a lot that goes into it. And we can go into other things as well. I mean, I don't know what other things you guys want to know, but like the drug use is another thing that is a big thing too. I have, again, I think more priorities now on my plate, and I don't see myself really wanting to get back to the stage.
And one big thing, bro, that I love that we're talking about, and it's not just, again, this is a tailgate talk. We brought you on, you're a bodybuilder, cool. One thing that I love that you brought up is you keep bringing up your wife.
Yeah.
You know, and I love that, because all three of us are in a relationship. I'm the only one that's not married. But one day I will be, and you guys will be invited. But I love how you keep bringing that up about how like your commitment, obviously, and everything else behind it. How you're thinking about not only yourself but your partner.
Yeah.
And again, Chris, I would say, again, not saying it behind cameras because that's my boy or whatever, but this guy, great husband. I've met him. I've known this guy for 4 years now. You know, I met him because of my son's T-ball team, whatever the case may be.
Nice.
But I love how you guys always talk about your wife. You guys always talk about your partner. So shout out to Shannon and shout out to your wife. Wife's name?
Vanessa,
Shannon, shout out to you guys for keeping it real.
I love you, baby.
And it genuinely makes me happy, bro. Because as men, we push to find that one woman that's going to push us to be the best man that we can be. Yeah. And I feel like you guys are the best man that you can be. Are you going to be better? Of course you are.
Yeah,
you know, you guys are never going to plateau into just the mediocre husband that you hear about when people are talking. You guys are going to be amazing husbands, and I love hearing about it. And I just want to say real quick, I love how you always bring up your wife.
No, I appreciate that. And I think I could speak for you as well. But like, what's that saying? You know, behind every great man is a great woman.
For sure.
You know, like, and you're talking about sacrifice a lot. Like, you know, even things like this. You know, we're doing a podcast. Like, we don't get paid for this. So hopefully, one day we will. But you know, my wife is at home with our 9-month-old and my daughter.
Yeah.
You know, she's holding down the fort. She's making a sacrifice, just like I am. You know, so I wouldn't be able to do a lot of the things that I want to do that I'm doing without the support of my wife, and I'm sure you can attest to that as well, brother.
Same, man.
And then I did want to go back to you brought up the drugs and stuff like that. And actually, I was sitting here like, fuck, how do I bring this up?
Of course,
coming off disrespectful or anything.
No, never.
I'm a casual when it comes to bodybuilding, right? and there's that stigma, like the stigma behind, steroid use in the bodybuilding world. So I just kind of wanted to ask, like, is the stigma true? Is a lot more people on it than we think, or less people on it than we think? Like
more than you think, bro. More, even at your just normal public gym, more people than you think. And sometimes you can't even tell, which is the sad part.
Yeah.
Because people don't really know what they're doing. I have no issue talking about it because I feel like a lot of people avoid the conversation, but young me would definitely wish that people would have told me more about, like the in-depths of what's gonna happen. But like, that's what I'm saying, man. I'm getting older, and even at that point where I was like, okay, like at some point I know I need to make a change, because 16, 18-year-old me, I was willing to die for bodybuilding. Years later, it's not that same mentality. It's like, okay, yeah, you know what? Like, you have a couple scares, you're like, yeah, this is not really worth it. But there's a very big role that steroids and anabolics play in bodybuilding. I mean, to be very straightforward, it's the name of the game. You have to be enhanced if you really want to make it to a pro stage. Have some people done it naturally? I'm not too sure, but I'm sure there's some very few genetic freaks that can really do it on their own. But at the pro stage, I mean, when you think about the greats, Ronnie Coleman, Arnold, Sebum, like all of those guys are taking stuff, But I always prioritize my health first. And when I work with a coach, I also want to make sure that the blood work is getting done, that I'm looking over those markers. And even coming off of my pro, not debut, but like when I first turned pro, that was a year and a half of me coming off everything to get fertile again, to be able to make sure that I can have kids. And thankfully, God willing, now I have my son. But that was a big thing that I was worried about for sure.
Real quick, bro, just for the pod, what's your son's name?
Achilles.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what a badass.
Yeah,
what a name. What a name.
Yeah.
Shout out to the movie Troy, bro. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Hey, Achilles. Shout out, bro.
Achilles, you're going to watch this hopefully one day.
Yeah, one day he will.
Yeah, but again, bro, I love how you're very open.
Yeah.
You're very blunt. You're not hiding anything. But just to go back into the questions, not to get away from all that. What's your favorite body part to train?
To train, I really enjoy back and shoulders.
You know what? I fucking hate back, bro.
Really?
I fucking hate back.
I'll do anything fucked up right now, dude. No, back and shoulder. Yeah, I mean back is. I don't know. Whenever you train back, you just feel like a fucking an animal, bro. I don't know what it is.
It's just the fullness that you feel.
Yeah, that's exactly what. That's the word I was looking for. Fullness.
Go ahead, bro.
I kind of want to get into the nutrition side, bro, because genuinely, I'm kind of curious about this side. What does eating look like for you now that you're doing like the endurance stuff?
So it has opened my eyes a lot, because I was again learning how to get into endurance training. I couldn't do the same chicken and rice meals for like a long run, or things like that. So I started playing with more range of carbohydrates, sugars. So also like how my digestion would work. My longest run was 18 miles, which is something that I was like really setting forth to do. I wanted to do 27 for my 27th birthday. I didn't get around to doing it because my newborn was born.
Yeah.
So that and I even told my wife, I was like, I'm going to get back into it. But like going from like taking some weeks off to trying to go back into a long run, I was not able to do it. So I'm still set on trying to do that. But back to your question, I'm more so just now a little bit more flexible with like my carbohydrate intake. And if I'm burning a lot more in these like longer sessions, I'm able to have a lot more carbohydrates. So like a bodybuilding diet that maybe my last 3 weeks of dieting for my bodybuilding show, it was egg whites, fish, which was like cod or ahi tuna, and maybe one meal had rice, asparagus, and that was it. That's like in a day. Now,
that's it for a day. Holy shit!
And that was just to like you're chasing a look, so you're trying to get conditioning, you're trying to get your skin texture to be at a certain like look. That is like very depleted. You feel like shit, even though you look crazy. I did not feel good in training. Like I did not feel good at all. My body was hurting. Now it's like, okay, I need to have enough food and calories to perform. So like it's cool because in the beginning when I started to do this, I was trying to do the same 2,000 calorie diets and it was not working for me and my body wasn't really responding. I was like, let me ramp it up a lot more. I went up to like 3,000, 300 grams of carbs. And at that point, my body really started to respond. And I started to see my body not just change, but also perform better. I felt better. I started to know what I could eat the night prior before doing the long runs. I started to run into like every third mile, every time I hit 3 miles, I got to take a shit. So I'm like, okay, how do I avoid that? You know,
We push it back to mile 7.
Yeah,
or some
you know,
shit.
so like I got to work around certain things, maybe stay away from certain foods. It taught me a lot, but I think the flexibility has definitely been a bigger range now. Getting into like, I feel like you need it when you're doing endurance training.
A lot of carbs.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I come up to you, you know, say I'm a young kid, right? I'm not young right now. I'm older than you, but
You're like 29, bro.
I'm only 29.
That's still young.
Yeah. Come up to you, hey Rich, I'm training for a marathon. What would you suggest for me to do?
It depends on where they're starting, what they're physically capable of at that moment, and what they want to obtain during that. Because if they're solely trying to train for the marathon, then all of their focus needs to go behind running. If they want to hold an athletic build or they want to have a certain physique while trying to do that, that changes things a little bit, because now you're trying to balance weight training and, you know, endurance, which is hard, as well as like, okay, what does your schedule look like? If you are telling me that you are a 21-year-old kid and all you got to worry about is your part-time job and you have X amount of time to train, cool. AM is going to be your run. PM is going to be weight training. And now we have a lot more room for recovery. We have a lot more room for how to spread out your diet. But if you are, let's say, a dad and you still got to pay the bills and you got to clock in at this time, you also got to be there for pickup time. You don't have all those many hours to train. That changes things, you know? So for the 21-year-old, I would definitely say, okay, what is the main thing that you're wanting to focus on? Pick one goal and let's shoot for that first. And then after that, we're going to build that momentum into your next goal, you know? But learning how to have a good diet plan, have a good nutrition base, and then start gradually building up the miles little by little so you work off that momentum. I'm not going to give you something that is going to crush your spirits in the beginning if you've never hit that mileage before, you know? So you start to build that up a little bit. Also prioritize like rest and recovery. That's a very big thing that I feel like a lot of people look over.
And again, going back to the whole rest and recovery, I always thought like, nah, like we're training 7 days a week. You know, you gotta work every day of the week. No, I learned that you have to rest.
Yeah.
You know, your body has to recover. Your body has to rest. And I ran my first half marathon, and to many people that might not be a lot, right?
It's a lot to me, brother.
Yeah, no, it is, bro.
But you start learning, and this is just running, right? I started learning a lot about cadence.
Yeah.
Your cadence. I was talking to Chris about how I got hurt 3 weeks before my half marathon. I had a hip flexor injury, you know, and I didn't dig deep into it, but I want to say it was because of my cadence. You know, I was overstriding every run. I'd run 10 miles, but my cadence was like at a 150.
Yeah.
Where it should be at a 180. You know, meaning you're taking more steps as you're running, right? And now that I'm training for the half marathon that I'm training for, like that's my main focus, is like I don't want to get hurt, because you can ask my girl weeks prior to the race where I couldn't run because it literally hurt to run. I would cry because I was like, fuck, dude, like I put in so much fucking work and I can't do it.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
And that's just running. So imagine like at a bodybuilding scale. Right? Yeah. Did you ever? That's where I'm leading to. Did you ever go through any injuries or?
Thankfully, no. I didn't have an injury until after bodybuilding, which was from snowboarding. But it did put me out for like 3 to 4 months. It did scare me a little bit. It was a shoulder injury, but it did frustrate me a lot because I wasn't able to train. I wasn't able to like feel my best. So I was very big into like getting deep tissue work done and just trying to make sure that I was taking the right measures, not try and rush it, so that way I can get back into my normal training and feel good again.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you a question a little bit selfishly for me.
Go for it.
But I don't want you to give out the full plan, because obviously we want people to tune into your business, right? But for anybody that's like me out there that, you know, might want to get into endurance and they're overweight, you know, what would be the first priority? So my priority is to obviously train for a half Ironman.
Yeah.
I have a year's time. I'm overweight, like I said. You know, I haven't really worked out consistently in years. What would be the first piece of advice you'd give somebody like me, or to me, or somebody like me, like I said?
The first thing that I feel like would make anything easier for anybody that is starting at a point of being a little bit overweight is drop 20 pounds. Okay. And that's like the most straight up answer, because 20 pounds lighter, you're going to feel better. And that just comes from your diet plan. And you can still fall in line with your endurance training. Because if you are doing all of the endurance, then you just need to lock in the diet, and that's going to naturally happen for you, you know?
Yeah.
But now you are also prioritizing fueling yourself for the endurance
part.
Exactly.
Okay,
you know,
got you.
so that little lifestyle change alone is going to allow you to like feel so much better. And then again, that snowball effect is what I like to look for with clients, because if I can get you to just make this little change, and it doesn't have to be perfect in the beginning, but just intentional, you know, changing the way that you go about your weekends, or maybe like how you handle your weekdays on diet. That way you can still enjoy certain things in your weekend. That little adjustment alone is going to start to get you to progress. And then 4 weeks in, 6 weeks in, you're like, oh shit, I am losing weight. I do feel good. You're not going to want to let go. You're going to want to keep going.
Pushing. Yeah, exactly.
And that's what I look for, you know?
And you bring up dropping 20 pounds, right? And like the big thing right now is peptides, right? You know, things like Retta and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is that something that you would recommend to somebody, or do you feel like the natural route is a little bit more?
I have nothing against peptides. I really love peptides. I use them myself. I have clients that I definitely prescribe them to. But the biggest thing that I feel like is the issue with peptides is people are taking things without knowing what they're really causing in the body. And it's like, again, we think about the foundation of a house. If you don't have the right foundation built, and you're relying on all of these other things to do the work for you, eventually things are going to fall. So when we talk about Retta, when we talk about GLP-1s, if you are relying on the peptide or the substance to do all of the work for you, they work. You're going to lose the pounds. You're going to lose, 20, 30 pounds, however much you lose, depending on where you're starting, by not even doing anything, just relying on that, upping the dosage. What happens when you come off?
Yeah.
That appetite's going to shoot right back up. You're still doing your old bad habits. So that weight's going to come all the way back up. Or the person that loses all of that weight now just looks shriveled up. They have all of that loose skin. They've never had the actual foundation of learning how to have good eating habits, learning how to work out properly in the gym. So then they just look skinny, and they're not really happy with the
like
body.
Sick.
Yeah, exactly. That's where you can see a lot of the people that have Ozempic face, or like, you can tell realistically now if people don't have the right background or the right, at least, habits in place with the peptides, it's not going to give them everything that they're looking for, or they're going to have to resort to always depending on it.
So yeah, because I mean, I asked selfishly because I'm kind of going back and forth with the getting on Retta and losing weight to help. Because obviously, not obviously, but I ran 4 miles for the first time in God knows how long.
Nice.
And I ended up getting plantar fasciitis. Not plantar fasciitis, but my plantar fascia was inflamed.
Yeah.
So that put me out a couple weeks. I started with the swimming.
Okay.
And I messed up my back.
Okay.
Like from, I guess, I don't know if overstriding or I'm probably trailing too much.
Okay.
And I'm like, dang, my wife's like, hey, Retta helps with inflammation. There's other peptides you can take for recovery and stuff like that. And I'm like, it's very, to me, it's very convenient, right? It's going to help me, like you said, lose the weight. But my biggest thing is like, what is the long-term effect going to be?
Yeah.
Obviously they're not FDA approved and stuff like that. So, and like you mentioned, you have a couple clients and yourself around peptides.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I really do like them. They do work. I don't put anybody on something just because.
Yeah.
I need to make sure that when I give somebody a supplement, that they realize the supplementation is just a tool. It just does something to help, but it doesn't do the work for you.
It doesn't fix
Same thing with steroids, right? When we talk about steroids, there's a lot of people that are in the gym that are probably on them, and you couldn't even tell because that doesn't do all the work for them. So when people have this like idea that if you start, injecting steroids, you're gonna wake up and be swole all of a sudden, like, it doesn't really work that way. And if you're not doing things correctly, you're gonna have other underlying issues, heart issues, liver issues, your skin, hair loss, things like that. To me, that's not worth it, right? I'd rather just put in the work on the other areas, and like little by little, those changes are gonna happen. But with peptides, the cool thing is that you don't have to have those side effects in place. You can take it from 1 week to the next and come off, and you're completely fine because it's not hormonal.
Okay.
So the cool thing is that they are amino acids that are in the body that already are there. You're just producing more of them, or you're sending certain commands in the body depending on the peptide that you're using. So like when I had my shoulder injury, there's this one called the Wolverine stack, BPC TB500. That definitely helps speed up my recovery process as well as getting treatment done. When it comes to dieting, Tesamorelin, Motzi, and Retatrutide are really good, but like you have to be following a good diet. You have to be making sure that the little habits are there in place. Otherwise, when you get off the Retta,
You're just gonna jump right back up.
Your appetite's gonna be there. Think about like if you get high and you have the munchies, how that appetite hits you.
Oh, yeah.
When you come off of Retta, that really is how it feels. Like
I heard allegedly that's how it works. Allegedly.
Yeah, like the appetite is a big thing. So if you can't control that alone, or even just people's relationship with food,
yeah,
like that's a very big issue. How do I go out with my family or with my wife or whatever and like look at a food menu and still stay on top of my goals? Like I gotta wake up for a swim tomorrow, or I gotta run the next day. Like, what am I gonna eat? Am I gonna eat the fried food, or am I gonna eat the thing that is gonna make me feel better for that run? Those little conscious decisions are gonna take you a lot further than taking the easier route out with trying to rely on all of these things.
And I love how he says that, because I felt that way. I felt that way.
I felt that way every day, bro.
I felt that way on Tuesday. No, yeah, it was Tuesday. So I kind of I use Runna. Shout out Runna. It's an app through
the Runna,
nice.
The Runna app.
Because I again training for the half marathon, and I picked Wednesdays to be my long run. And Tuesday night we're out eating, and I'm like, shit, what do I eat?
Yeah,
like I know I have to have a long run, which was just 5 miles, right?
Yeah.
Based on how I have 13 weeks to get to where I want to get,
yeah.
right? So I was like, cool. Like I'm training slowly but surely. What do I eat? Do I eat the wings, or do I eat just the grilled chicken and rice and I'm good? And at that moment in time, I think about it now, and I'm sure that's exactly how you feel. In that moment in time, the wings sound fucking great.
Wings sound good all the time, bro. Wings sound good all the time.
But what's going to help you the next day?
Yeah. So
it's cool that I'm kind of asking this, because it goes back to the whole nutrition part. What was your go-to meal when you were bodybuilding?
My go-to meal when I was bodybuilding, I really loved cream of rice. I think because being restricted from sugars, cream of rice was like I can mess that up any time of the day. And it was like my treat, And it sounds so simple, but like just how you can make it. They have a bunch of different brands now that are out, and you can literally make it like a brownie batter consistency. And I would take my time eating that, and I would even eat with a small little spoon. So I would eat slower, because as a bodybuilder, I don't know if that's just a habit that I like built, was just I would eat so fast, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I need to slow down. Yeah. It definitely caused that. But cream of rice, I think the other one was like, whenever I had steak in my diet, I really love steak, red meat. Chicken.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, chicken and rice is always like the main, like, cliche meal. But if you have dry chicken, I mean, it's not good.
I know, I feel that.
And going back, countering that, is there a meal that you hated, but you had to eat just to get like your fish?
Yeah,
really?
White fish.
I love fish, bro.
Yeah, but like when you got to eat it 3 times in the day, 7 days a week,
after a while you're like, fuck,
I start
fish,
smelling like fish. My wife hated it, because she was cooking all my food. And those last weeks when he changed my diet up, he was like, hey man, like, we're gonna do a hard push, like, are you ready? And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, whatever it takes, bro. So like, yeah, cod at like 9 a.m.
Pescado,
my girl is like, I'm
fish
over
for
this.
breakfast does not sound great.
That's great. So kind of like, like with endurance stuff, you say you have to, your carb intake has to be like crazy. What's your favorite like cheat meal, quote unquote cheat meal?
Yeah, I love burgers. I love sushi. I love spaghetti. That's definitely one that I felt like really helped my longer runs.
Those are cheat meals?
Spaghetti, yeah, like the
damn
carb. You know what? I have my non-negotiables, because like I don't like food that's not gonna make me feel good. And even though they might taste good, pizza, fried food, I love ice cream, but ice cream messes up my stomach.
Same,
so like,
bro.
I'd rather not put myself through that pain. There's other things that I can enjoy, and I tell my clients this all the time. Like the non-negotiables are no fried, no pizza, and like it's gonna benefit you while still being able to indulge in something good.
Yeah.
So like, sushi is you're good. Sushi is my go-to. Spaghetti, burgers, and I feel like I keep it pretty simple when it comes to that.
Dude, I don't know, something about pizza, dude. Imagine just like no pizza.
I like pizza, but not like that.
Yeah, I'm locked in.
If you tell me like no steak or no burgers, I'll be like, oh fuck.
Like, what is your guys' cheat meal?
fucking everything under the sun, brother. As you can tell. No, my go-to, like, if I'm gonna really like, I love ice cream, bro. Like,
Ice cream, yeah.
Ice cream, I love ice cream, bro.
So like I started switching over to lactate, and that just helps me so much more. I feel better on it because it tastes like real ice cream, but it doesn't leave me on the toilet for like, X amount of hours.
Are you lactose or what?
I'm lactose.
You're
Yeah.
lactose?
I mean,
Shit.
I wasn't, but I built up to it because I don't ever have dairy in my diet. So
your
I
body's
think
like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, I think I've just made myself lactose.
I feel like with me, and again, we're talking about me, not at a pro bodybuilder level. To me, dude, like my non-negotiable is Whataburger, bro.
Oh yeah.
I just got like at least once a week, I gotta fuck up Whataburger.
I gotta fuck up Whataburger's crazy, bro.
There you go. But next time, make it right before a long run, and then that way
That's
it's
true. It's worth it.
Yeah.
See, I'm gonna tell my wife that, babe. I'm running long as shit tomorrow.
Hey, babe, I'm getting a triple, but I got 10 miles.
I got 10 miles tomorrow, so it's okay. Now it's all about balance, baby.
No, yeah, for sure.
Intentional.
And then, like, last one on nutrition, bro. I know we've been talking about nutrition a little bit, but what nutrition mistake do you see beginners make a lot?
I think one that a lot of people overlook that can really make a big difference in how you lose weight is oils. So I have my clients cook with cooking spray rather than oils because you don't really measure oil when you're on a pan, right? You're just putting it on there, marinades, things like that. But you think about it, oils measured at the back of the label, it says a tablespoon. 1 tablespoon is 120 calories. Now, if you're not measuring and you're just drizzling it over everything, you already have like close to maybe 600 to 1,000 calories just in oil on top of all the other calories that you're having, or if you cook with butter. So making that little switch to just cook with cooking spray is already going to save you a lot of calories. Or maybe you think you're in a deficit, but you're not because you're not factoring those in. Yeah. That's a very big one. Other than that, I would say tracking your food goes a long way. Like knowing how much you're consuming, because if you're not tracking, you don't know what's working. That's something that I tell people all the time. And when it comes to being intentional, it's like, okay, there's many different ways to go about your nutrition and how you handle your diet. Every diet works, the keto, the carnivore, all of those. Whatever you can stay more consistent with is what I recommend. Okay. And at that point, it's like, okay, if I still want to enjoy, I don't know, waffles at night, and that's something that I like to have at night is just like waffles. So I'm going to adjust my carbohydrates earlier in the day. But like, you need to kind of have that planned out. So, okay, I avoid carbohydrates first thing in the morning because like, I'm not really up and moving around. Maybe I work a desk job, so I'm not really moving. I'm going to save my carbs for when I train. When you plan a little bit better, it allows you to have more structure with your eating, and you can actually start seeing results rather than just doing things blindly. Let's say, if you can tell me the last 3 things you ate the last 3 days, it's kind of hard. Yeah. But maybe one day you had diarrhea, maybe the other day you were bloated. You don't know where that comes from, So when you stick to
tracking it,
make a grocery list and then just be like, okay, these are going to be my groceries. These are going to be my meals. I'm going to maybe swap up these little by little, but like just have a little plan, and then that goes a long way. And then little by little, you can start getting a little bit more strict. Or maybe like I still want to have cheat meals on my weekend, so I'm going to pull my calories back just a little bit in the week, so that way I can always still have that.
I can enjoy that.
Yeah,
on the weekend.
And one quick one. And I feel like I don't feel guilty talking about it, but alcohol.
Alcohol, yeah.
Right? I'm sure that plays a big factor. I'm sure you probably enjoyed your alcohol in your youth.
Yeah.
You're still young, right? But do you feel like you have to cut it off completely? Is there certain limitations? This is for the audience, right?
Yeah.
And I'm asking for myself. Again, training, I want to do all these things. Mm-hmm. Do I drink? Do I not? Do I drink this? Do I not drink that much?
How many Coors Lights can I have?
I feel like everybody's different. Everybody's goals are different. So like your version of what you want to see yourself fit might be different from mine. Everybody has a different version of healthy, different version of fit. You can still enjoy those things if that's really what you enjoy. Like that's your lifestyle. Does it affect your progress a lot? Yes. Alcohol is probably the one thing that I always have people cut out because it really does make that big of a difference. It's a game changer when you cut alcohol for a period of time. And you have the most calories consumed from alcohol. You have 4 grams in protein, carbs, you have 9 grams in fat, you have 11 grams in alcohol, but you're not there weighing out your alcohol. You're just throwing them back,
Yeah,
so that adds up very quickly. Beverages, you add a lot of calories so quickly because you can drink them. Think about a regular Coke. Regular Coke has around 70 grams of carbs. That's like 2 cups of rice. but you're just drinking that. So eliminating sodas, eliminating alcohol plays a very big role into how you can start seeing those little lifestyle changes. Inflammation goes down, little things like that. That's definitely one thing that I know a lot of clients really like when they first start training, is like when I give them these little things, they're like, yeah, like my coworkers are noticing this or that. And I'm like, good, like inflammation is down. That's the first thing that I look for in a client, is like, okay, how is their face looking after X amount of days or weeks? That's a good marker. Now we go from there little by little. But again, when you try to go from like 0 to 100, it's hard, so like giving yourself these crazy restrictive diets, it's not going to be something that you're going to be able to obtain for a longer period of time.
And I feel like that's where people quit, right?
Yes.
Because they want to go again 0 to 100. Like you went from eating like dog shit, whatever the fuck the case may be, to
exactly
clean. Of course they're not gonna fucking like it, and then most people quit during that period. Like, oh, you know what, this doesn't work. You know what, I'll keep going back to my old bad habits.
Yeah, and I mean it goes into training as well. Like what you just said, like you're working up to getting better at those 13 miles. You are getting your miles up little by little. But like if you schedule a 10-mile run and you haven't been running at all, like think of how hard that's going to be for you to finish.
Possible.
So it goes hand in hand, the training and the nutrition. I think the part about being a coach is like getting people to slowly build up their confidence in that and being like, I can do this. I just need to know how to do it.
And then like to me, obviously, like hearing everything you're talking about, the nutrition side, the physical side, everything you have to do, I think like not only to me, but to maybe some of the viewers, that can be like a little overwhelming.
Yes.
Right. And like it's a lot of things to think about. It's a lot of things to do. So that can kind of cause, like some fatigue and, mental fatigue, physical fatigue, like how would you, like, what's the best way you would describe you staying disciplined on days that you don't feel motivated or you don't feel like you want to do it?
Systems. I have systems in my life for different purposes. I have my non-negotiables of like how many meals I have to eat a day, how much water I have to drink, what maybe my steps are, or at least like what I have to get done. And maybe someday I'm not feeling like it and I'll give myself rest, but it has to get done at some point in the week. Okay. And systems allow that. And I tell that again in my coaching, like it's a very big part of what I try to teach a lot of my clients, because it does work, when motivation isn't there, because motivation isn't always there. I've had those times, but like systems are what help build discipline. Okay, and the discipline, is what starts to get you to a certain point. And then you slowly start to become that person, like that's really what it comes down to. Think about like what gets you up to go do a long run or go do something. It's like, well, you want to see yourself at the end of the finish line. You want to see yourself, but you know that this has to be in place. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I still have to be, again, intentional with what I'm doing. I think having those little things in place, being a little bit more structured with like where I want to see my day go, goes a long way.
100%. And just to go or get away kind of like from all the non-negotiables and all that stuff, we're gonna ask you a couple of quick questions. We call them rapid fire.
Go for it.
I have it labeled here on the front questions, but it's never really rapid. We call it rapid-ish because sometimes we tend to answer the questions before we even ask them.
Okay.
But what's your gym pet peeve?
Gym pet peeve: pajama pants in the gym. The younger dudes I see come in with pajama pants, I'm like, I just know you got swamp ass, and that's it's disgusting. I don't get
ass is a
I don't
no
get
go
that.
In the gym,
Also wearing flip flops. I hate when people wear flip flops in the gym.
Wouldn't even think to like fucking.
Why would you
drop
wear
a fucking dumbbell or something on your foot, bro? You're screwed.
Yeah, or even them, man. You see some crazy stuff. I think another one would be overly loud grunters. Like I've been under some good weight and had to like let it out and grunt, but I'm like, if I look over and you're screaming, you don't have that much weight, I'm like, bro, come on, you could have just like kept it down a little
curling
bit more.
The 25s, my guy.
At that point you want everybody looking.
What's the funniest thing you've ever seen happen at a gym?
Funniest thing I've ever seen happen,
or craziest?
I mean, at a gym, you got a lot of egos. So there's definitely been some like little... I work in a gym, so you'd be surprised the drama that I see go down in the gym, Like, I know when people are on the routine. I know when people fall off because I'm there every day. So, like, I see a lot of the same faces. I say, hi to the same people. But I also people watch sometimes. It's just part of,
everybody does that.
Inevitable.
Everybody does that.
So seeing sometimes like the little dynamics that shift or change, that's pretty funny. The one time that I made myself laugh was I was spotting a client on the leg press, and further end of the gym, there was a doctor. She was doing hyperextensions where you lock your legs in and you come up and you do like a lower back extension. She didn't lock her legs in. And I'm just kind of there spotting my client, and I kind of see her doing, but I didn't really pay anything. And then I just see like, boom, flop, boom. And I'm like, oh shit, like, you know, but I'm like, oh, she's a doctor. She'll know what to do, you know, but I'm like, no, should I go? And I felt bad. So I was like, yeah, let me go help her. And yeah, I ended up helping her. But like, that was probably one of the funnier things, other than people taking off a shit ton of weight from one side of the bar, and then it just boom. Yeah, that broke a mirror in the gym one time. So yeah,
I when I was working out and stuff like that, like back in high school, I realized like I think like 2 plates, maybe a little over 2 plates is like the max.
Yeah, anything over 2 plates, yeah, it's gonna.
Yeah, you're over. Like everything else is gonna fall over.
I'm trying to picture that. And I just see the lady.
Yeah, bro, I felt so bad. I was like,
oh shit. Speaking about the gym, what's one exercise that like you feel is the most effective in the gym?
Most effective.
And obviously, we can get into it with so many.
Like depending on what you want to do, right?
But if there's one exercise you could do for the rest of your life, which one would it be?
That's a good question.
Good question, bro.
That benefits everything.
You got me thinking, bro.
Yeah, you got me thinking. Bro. That's a very good one. If I had to say something that would help you overall in general, would be a barbell bent over row, because you're engaging your core, your hamstrings, your back, your biceps. There's a lot of movement in that.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of deadlifts so much. I do them, but like not a lot of people. It's a higher risk than reward.
A lot of people like the form's off. Right?
Yes, so yeah. If you don't have good form, then you're gonna mess yourself up. Yeah. But like the compound lifts, bench press, leg press, squats aren't a necessity. You can definitely stick to the leg press and still get great results. But I think barbell rows are definitely something that a lot of people can benefit from.
What's one food you can never give up permanently?
Burgers.
Burgers?
I love burgers.
Burgers are the shit, bro.
Where's your what? And I asked this question earlier on the pod when we first started. Whataburger or In-N-Out?
Whataburger.
All day, huh?
Yeah, all day. I'm very big on fries too, so fries have to be good.
Yeah, the fries at In-N-Out, like you get a monster style, bro. Like they'll get a pass.
Animal style.
Animal style, yeah. Shit.
Like Orange Cow. Have you guys had Orange Cow?
Orange Cow's
I love Orange Cow.
Dude, so I had Orange Cow last week. My girl had a long lunch, and I was like, yeah, I'll take some time off. Went to Orange Cow, and I was just like, bro, what the
They're good.
This is here in El Paso? Like,
fire, bro.
Did you guys ever go to Independent Burger?
I never tried that.
Never.
Oh, man. That was good. Before it closed, yeah, I really like that place.
So, best burger in El Paso? Orange Cow, you would say?
I would go with Orange Cow.
Orange Cow is delicious,
yeah, Orange Cow is delicious.
Like, Jalen, he's my son, my middle son. He's not like, if he likes something, he'll vocalize it, bro. Like, he'll let you know. And he doesn't do that for very many things. And we took him to Orange Cow. And like for the next 3 weeks, we're like, Dad, can we go back to Orange Cow? I'm like, bro, chill out, dude. Like we can't have that every day, dude.
I mean, why not?
You're right, but then yeah, the bank account would go down because
the physique.
The physique's already down, brother. Orange Cow's not gonna change that shit, bro. That shit's already been down.
Oh man, if you weren't a bodybuilder, brother, what do you think you'd be doing?
Man, so
and this is hard to ask you, not to cut you off, but you were
step out real quick, boys.
You're okay. You said you were doing this since the age of 16.
Yeah.
What do you think you'd be doing if it wasn't bodybuilding?
I've asked myself that before because I'm very grateful to be able to have a successful business through my passion. It's something that has, provided for my family, paid my bills for so long. And I love what I do. I love coaching. I love helping people. But in the beginning, before I found the gym, I was going down the path of wanting to go into the military and law enforcement. I have family that have that background. So I was very much pushed into that. And when I started to get, more in depth about finding myself and like who I really was, I just realized like that's not me. I'm not that person. I think I really liked bodybuilding because all of the pressure was on me. There's no teammates, there's no pressure is like on everybody, or everybody has to do their part. Like no, like if I don't do my part,
pressure's on you.
Exactly, yeah. So that's I think one of the real reasons that I really like bodybuilding. If I wouldn't have had the success, I honestly don't know, because there were certain points in my career where I maybe was like, damn, this is rough, and I maybe should just get a normal 9 to 5 that is going to give me a steady paycheck, but I stuck it out, and I really did invest a lot more in time into like my craft and just trying to be a better coach year by year. And I feel like that really helped me. I think just in general, how much I care for my clients has gone full circle for me, which I really do like.
For sure. And when you're in the gym, are you big into having music in your headphones, or you're more like just off the vibe?
No, I need to have music. Yeah. I mean, I think more so it's changed sometimes. Like runs now, I can do without music because I want to hear like breathing. Sometimes I kind of get lost with music and I'm like fucking dying with my breath. So then I'm like, okay, we got to turn it off.
But going back into the gym, right?
Yeah.
Music?
Yeah.
For sure?
Yeah, for sure.
One song.
Oh, man.
What's that one song that's going to get you like, let's fucking go?
And it's crazy because this will vary person to person, you know? There's some people that might say like,
it's a fucking Mozart or something.
Yeah, so, like Korn or Slipknot, and then you get someone that's over here like Beethoven and shit.
Christian rock, bro.
Yeah. Oh, hey.
It can go Creed. 2 ways. Yeah.
Shout out Creed, bro.
One song.
It can go 2 ways. It's either depending on like what I'm doing. If I'm pulling something like really fucking heavy, then it's got to be like some Pooh Shiesty.
Okay.
And then if I'm probably like doing chest or something more chill, I do like rock, so I'll do like AC/DC, Thunderstruck, little stuff like that. Yeah.
Cool, man. Oh yeah, I love that. We'll start there.
All right, man. And just to kind of going on the closing side.
Yeah.
Because we could go on.
I could sit here and talk to you for fucking days, bro.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's very important. I honestly love this podcast. What's one goal that you haven't accomplished yet that you want to?
I want to do an Ironman. That's definitely my next goal. Some type of endurance event. I held back a little bit this year. Not held back, but my priorities were my wife and the pregnancy. So I think, since we've been together, it's been about like me accomplishing something and chasing something. So I told her, I was like, you know what? This year, I won't do anything. Like, I'm not going to work towards something. I do like working towards goals, though. I feel like it's cool. It keeps me in the right mental state. And I just feel like if you feel like you're progressing in some way in your life, you feel more fulfilled.
And just to go on off of that.
Yeah.
I love how when we had your brother, Jacob, he talked about how like if he had a goal, he felt like he would work towards it.
Yeah.
And we talked about how, and it's not to knock off your brother, right? But after high school, he finished high school. That's kind of where he kind of fell off because he didn't have that one goal to hit. To Jacob, it was high school basketball.
Yeah.
That was his thing. Basketball. He graduated. He kind of like, after he graduated.
Yeah.
Kind of like
it took a little it wasn't on top of his health, wasn't really motivated and stuff like that.
So I can see why you say that.
Yeah, I feel like having goals in general for anybody, it just really does help you put your effort and you put, again, intention behind like daily things to work towards something. So this year definitely was a little bit of a backseat, but my business has been my priority and my family. I think next year I do want to try and do an Ironman. I got into boxing, so I think one cool thing would just be like to do a little amateur fight if I can do
that'd be sick. That'd be sick.
We'll be ringside, Doug.
And you want to do a full Ironman or like a half or what's?
I want to start with a half.
I
want to start with a half, build my confidence, and then get into a full. But just test myself there. I think the one thing that I've enjoyed about this whole process is doing hard shit all over again. Because not to feel like I was on top of the bodybuilding scene, but like I got bored with doing the same things as far as like I'm like, okay, like I've already accomplished this. I wanted something to challenge me all over again. And the endurance was definitely the one that did it, So I was like, okay, cool. Like there's a whole different mental side behind pushing yourself to run another mile, to keep going and not stop. And that whole mental side was like a completely different thing that I never really experienced, because you go through a hard set, you go through hard weeks of dieting, like they'll fade a little bit, you finish the set, you can relax, or you chug some water, you vape a little bit, your appetite will go away. But like the run, it's different. And I really enjoyed that.
I love that.
What advice would you give someone who wants to start bodybuilding today?
Do it for the self journey and the love of the sport. If you really do want to chase bodybuilding, I think social media has changed a lot for the scene. So if you're doing it for the validation of others or the highlights of social media, you're not gonna last. You're not really gonna enjoy it. And do it when you have a lot of steadiness in your life. You know, income is good, relationship is good, because you want to limit stress. When you go into a prep, you want to make sure that you're in control of everything that you can control, you know? So when those things aren't there and you start to add a lot more stress, that definitely affects the body. Cortisol rises. It changes the way that your body responds to things. You want to make sure you're doing it at the right time in your life.
And I kind of wanted to get away from like the bodybuilding and the you know, the endurance stuff like that. Like what do you enjoy doing outside of that?
I spend most of my time with my wife. I think just doing different adventures with her. We love traveling. I love fitness. So if I can, you know, do something active, that's definitely our go-to. But like, that's not always the things that we're doing. For the most part, trying good restaurants. We really like to try different places. My wife loves cooking, so that's something that we both enjoy together.
Okay.
And then what else? With my stepson, we usually just try and take him out to do something fun, Dave & Buster's. I mean, at the same time, like, I feel like I'm still a kid at heart, so I like playing the game. So
I think we all feel like that, bro.
Having kids, I feel like it's an excuse to still, you know, get into that. That's always fun. But I feel like, yeah, for the most part, there's not a whole lot to do here in El Paso. I like shooting every now and then. I grew up riding a motorcycle, so me and my wife like riding. I have a Harley that I take out, and then I do want to, you know, probably invest in getting some dirt bikes for the family and stuff like that a little more down the line.
Nice.
No, and I love that because I feel like that'll make for a good episode. I got the Can-Am in the garage, you know, go out.
Yeah.
You say you like shooting.
Let's do it, bro.
Got guns, you
There
know.
you go.
We'll go out.
down.
And one thing we love telling our guests, bro, is that today obviously we're talking all about you, right? Trying to get to know you, trying to get your word, your message. But we always invite our I was gonna say clients. That's crazy.
Clients is wild, bro.
Our guests. We always want to invite our guests back to have another podcast, but just again, tailgate talk, right?
Yeah.
Shoot the shit. Talk about everything
Talk
and
about
anything.
sports.
We can talk about sports. We can talk about what your favorite sport is. Say, what is your favorite sport?
I mean, I like football. I don't think I'm as religious with it now than I used to be. I'm also a Giants fan, so it's not the greatest life over here.
I'm a
but,
Jets fan, brother. So I feel that, dog.
Yeah.
I feel
But
that.
yeah, football is my passion. I mean, I still love watching it. My stepson's in football, so going to his like games and stuff, it does fucking get me riled up still on the sidelines. So yeah.
What's your thoughts on Jackson Dart?
Jackson Dart. You see, I'm not even that informed, bro. I don't even know what Jackson Dart is.
The quarterback.
Yeah,
You
the
guys
quarterback for the
Oh
Giants.
yeah. I haven't even watched the last. Like, I know we won, but I didn't even watch the game, so I can't even give you a good straight up answer.
I feel like your mind's on other shit,
Yeah.
bro. So that's all. I mean, it happens, bro.
Sure. Talk about being a father, huh?
Hey, being a father will do that
I'm
to you,
still
bro.
loyal to the team, but
Being a father will do that to
Yeah.
you, bro.
That's crazy because you can ask me like if I had a son born today. Yeah, Dak Prescott went for like 360 last night, and 2 touchdowns.
You know what's crazy? Like when my son, he was born last November, but it was 3 days after the Dodgers won the World Series. I don't know if you could tell that I'm a Dodger fan or not, but we were sitting there watching Game 7. I was actually talking to my wife about this today, and I was like, remember we're watching Game 7, and I'm just sitting there like, 'cause the Dodgers are losing the majority of the game, and I'm sitting there like, Jesus Christ, bro. Not only the Dodgers are going to lose, but I'm probably going to be in a pissed off mood when my son's born because the Dodgers lost. And then they would come back and win it. And I was like, well, thank God for that. God was probably like, hey, bro,
Yeah.
don't take this shit so serious, but here you go. I'm going to throw you a bone here. Let your team win.
For sure. Is there any other sports you tap into, bro? Other than football?
I think the only other one that I really watch right now is like MMA.
I love MMA.
Yeah,
You can talk
that-
MMA all
yeah.
for
Oh,
days,
man.
bro.
That is
Can you
fun.
tell I like UFC?
Yeah, I was looking at the one right now. That is badass. Yeah.
He's a casual fan.
Yeah.
Boxing too is something that I just started to more like watch now. Aside from that, no, I think because I really grew up only playing football.
Okay.
I tried doing motocross for a little bit when I was younger. That only lasted a short while, but like after that, bodybuilding is the main thing that like I really obsessed over. So
Yeah.
I didn't really do much other than that.
So last question for you, bro. And the question says, when your bodybuilding career is over, would you say your bodybuilding career is over?
I think it is.
It is?
Yeah. The point that I'm at now in life, I feel like I don't see myself getting back on a pro stage for what it's going to cost me. But I don't think I'm at my best yet with where I want to take my physique.
Okay. Well, the question was, when your bodybuilding career is over, what would you want people to remember you for?
Ooh. I think for my passion, how much I really set out to accomplish becoming a pro. And I did that starting my junior year, and I was persistent. And even when things got hard and I didn't win, I think everybody wants to have these like crazy highlights, but like I lost a lot before I was able to win. And the year that I really made it happen, I think was at the point of my life that it needed to happen. I had everybody that really meant the most to me in my life. My wife is definitely a big part in that. And I think, yeah, it was God's timing for sure.
I'm telling you, I love how you guys always allude to the woman that's standing beside you, right? Because at the end of the day, what did you say earlier? You're
behind every great man is a great woman.
Exactly, 100%.
Sure.
And I can see that, the way you carry yourself, the way you've carried yourself through the years that I've known you.
Yeah, man.
I love that, and both of you, right? And shout out to you said Vanessa, right? Vanessa. Yeah. Shout out to Shannon. To any man out there that's watching this, and hopefully you're still tuning in, because it's a long podcast. Yeah. We're talking about a bunch of shit, but if you're still watching, if you have a great woman beside you, it'll take you places you don't ever imagine. Yeah, I can assume
100%, right? Bro.
And I feel like in society today, right, we have a lot of that, like, oh, let's just go out and find whatever we can find out there, right? I don't want to say the words off the pod, but I'm sure we can. Yeah. You guys can attest to what I'm thinking of. But yeah, man, you find that one girl, I'm sure it makes the world of a difference
for sure.
No, but yeah, man, honestly, thank you for your time, bro. It's awesome. I really enjoyed this podcast. We have a thing where we always say this is my favorite podcast. For me personally, bro, this is my favorite podcast just because of the state of mind I'm in. Nice. And trying to change my life as far as health goes. Having you on it at this time was amazing for me. And just to anybody out there that's maybe going through the same thing I'm going through or Brandon's going through, you want to make a change, you want to get healthier, you want to think about your long-term health for your kids and for yourself. This is a great place to start. Honestly, like you bring up passion, bro, and you can see the passion you have for what you do.
Thank you, man.
And like me personally, bro, I'm definitely gonna hit you up as far as like getting advice and stuff like that off the podcast. So yeah, thank you, man. We really appreciate your time, brother.
No, yeah, I appreciate you guys having me, man. This was fun.
And like how Chris was saying, again, dude, you have a 3-week-old son. Shout out Achilles, and you're here talking with us, talking about your life and everything you've done. So we appreciate you so much. And like you said, we have this running, I wouldn't say joke because it's not a joke, but this running saying that as we keep recording every episode is, oh, this is my favorite podcast.
Yeah.
For one, this is my favorite podcast because this is my guest.
It's a great guest, bro.
Sorry, Chris.
No, dude, fuck.
But dude, I loved every second of it. Again, you're welcome back anytime, dude. Whenever you want to talk about anything else other than bodybuilding,
appreciate it, man. Yeah, whenever you guys want me.
And that's the thing about this whole thing, right? Is the tailgate talk. You sit and talk about the boys, about literally anything and everything. So you're welcome back whenever you want, sir. Thank you again,
and just lastly, give a quick shout out to your business again, brother. We want to post this so
for sure.
It gets out to as many.
You guys can find me on Instagram at Team Rich Works Training. I'm a fitness coach. I work with lifestyle clients, but I definitely help you achieve a goal.
You guys hit him up, give him a like, give us a like. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll see you guys next time.
We'll see you. Thank you, guys.
We were tailgate talking on a Sunday afternoon. So let's call up the boys, bring a case or two, cause we ain't got nothing to lose. I know we were tailgate talking on a Sunday afternoon.